The New York Giants select Prince Amukamara, defensive back, Nebraska.
So, the night before the royal wedding, the Giants pick a Prince.
I think he's a good player. Another guy that slipped in this draft, Mel. This guy's played right corner. He's played left corner at Nebraska. You have Corey Webster. You have Terrell Thomas. They've had some injuries, but Amukamara can play. Questions with him, I think, involve the way he plays. Some of the technique issues, he'll catch you from off, but this is a guy that's light on his feet, very athletic. He plays with very good awareness. He's a confident customer. He'll hit you. I think he's a little sloppy with his technique. We'll try to show you a couple clips where he can't jam receivers outside of that contact zone. That's just the adjustment he'll have to make at the next level. But this guy is a tough guy, loves football. Good pick for New York.
Well, you think about the fact that, hey, it's a passing league, John. You got Terrell Thomas. He's got 10 interceptions the last 2 years. With Corey Webster, durability issues. Same thing with Aaron Ross. You talk about a position depth-wise where they didn't have a lot. Where's Prince Amukamara right now? He's the best available player. I mean, he was certainly one of the top 10 to 12 players on most boards. Certainly on mine he was all year, John. You look at a kid, solid all the way through his career. I thought a little better as a junior than he was as a senior. He can play press, he can play off, and he's a guy good in run support. Because they don't have great ball skills. They may not be great, but they're decent. He had 5 picks as a junior at Nebraska. Now, he did get help. They had Ndamukong Suh there wreaking havoc. Jared Crick as well, who's had 16 sacks over the last 2 years. And they get a lot of pass rush at Nebraska, which helps out the corners. But I think at this particular point in the draft, they had to be surprised. I'll tell you what, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 20 coming up next had to be a little disappointed that Amukamara didn't slide to them because they need a corner like him, and the Giants grabbed them 1 pick ahead.
I agree. I think this is a good player. Let me just show you a couple concerns that I have, and I'm a nitpicker. You know how I am, Mel. But this guy plays 7.5 to 8 yards off at times. And watch for yourselves. He's going to play flat-footed, and he'll jam the receiver beyond that 5-yard contact zone. This is illegal in pro football. It's a tactic that you can use in college football and get away with it. I'm not saying this is bad. I'd coach this if I was a college coach, but he's going to have to change this in the National Football League. These officials won't allow that. So that's a subtle technique change that I think Prince is going to have to adopt. He knows that, but I never thought he'd be there at this point in the draft. And now you turn to Tampa Bay. They just had this issue come up with Aqib Talib, their star corner. I'm sure they had their eyes on Prince.
Well, with Rondé Barber still amazingly playing pretty good football, but almost ageless at corner. Very few have played in their upper 30s to his degree, but at some point. So the Bucs are on the clock, the resurgent Bucs, followed by the Chiefs. So we're getting to the playoff teams in just a jiffy.
Look, everybody wants the same things in a pickup, okay? So the engineers at Ford cranked out an all-new line of engines for the 2011 F-150 to give you the most torque, most towing, most horsepower, most payload, and you won't be put in a chokehold every time you fill up, because you can also get the best fuel economy. This is the future. This is the new F-150.
Just announced. Get 0% financing for 60 months or up to $2,500 cash back. Only at your local Ford dealer.
My favorite thing. Instant breakfast.
We haven't met his family. They could be awful.
This Mother's Day weekend, it's the Taylors.
I'll break this wedding up if I have to.
Versus the Watsons.
Je vais faire sauter cette femme de chez moi.
What?
She said she gonna hit you in the head with a computer. I heard that.
Jumping the Broom, rated PG-13.
So, Pops, what's it gonna take to get you to switch to ProGlide?
My disposable works fine. Field looks pretty sweet for opening day. Yeah, it does. It's a shame if something would happen to it.
Dude, not cool. Come on, Pops.
This baby's a pretty sweet shave, but who's gonna get the field ready?
Oh, don't worry about that.
DirecTV, you can start watching in one room, pause, and continue watching in any other room. Don't just watch TV. DirecTV.
Goodyear, driven by those who use the world as their proving ground. Goodyear, more driven.
The new My Bud Light bottle. Now you can use a key or a coin to write your name, your number, or whatever you're into. It's the latest innovation in social networking. Here we go.
ESPN's coverage of the 2011 NFL Draft presented by Bud Light is brought to you by Ford, Drive One, Pizza Hut, all your favorites at great prices every day, and Jump in the Broom in theaters May 6th, rated PG-13.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, much more so record-wise than the Lions and the Rams, made strides uncommon in the NFL. The Bucs ended up 10-6 last year, coming from nowhere, and Josh Freeman, a quarterback. I mean, they've got some things to look at and be excited about. Mort, now last year they went defensive tackle 1-2, McCoy Price. You're saying they still might look at defensive line? Is that a possibility?
No question. They want to get their defensive end addressed, and some people have thought about Daquan Bowers from Clemson. They went there a while back with Gaines Adams, the late Gaines Adams, who was very close to Daquan Bowers. But Bowers' knee clearly is a concern because the Bucs are going to take Adrian Claiborne, the Iowa defensive end, who's one of the best stories in this draft. Adam.
Another great medical question here because he's overcome Erb's palsy, a birth defect that he was born with, shortening his right arm, came out, but it has never been a problem. Some teams were worried about him, but if you go back a couple of years ago, Adrian Claiborne was viewed as a top 10 pick, and Iowa breeds tough football players. They've done it again. Tampa Bay intended to go with a defensive lineman, a pass rusher all along. They're getting their man in Adrian Claiborne, boom.
Well, fellas, and we see him on the phone, and I want to talk to Coach, who knows so many of these players on the Bucs, although they've turned their roster over quite a bit. Adrian Claiborne, one of my guys, calls him Light Switch.
That's my guy. That's right.
Right?
Switch.
Light Switch.
Hey, 2 years ago, we started studying all this tape, and I tell you, Chris, this kid shows up. He is Light Switch. He's got tremendous change of direction. His playing speed, I don't know what he runs, 4.78, but he had 20 TFLs, 11.5 sacks. He's an excellent pass rusher. He has an arsenal of moves. He plays every down. Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator at Iowa, doesn't take this guy off the field. He plays right in. And at crunch time in the 2-minute drill, he finishes games. The only concern I have with this guy is I don't know what the issue is with the shoulder. But I think for him to be there at number 20, this is a tremendous pick for the Buccaneers.
With the 20th pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Adrian Claiborne, defensive end, Iowa.
I mean, you're getting a Hawkeyes team captain, Chris. And, you know, if you're interested in times and all that stuff, this guy runs a 4.13 20-yard shuttle. And I tell you, he's been trained. That's where Trent Cole played. These Iowa Hawkeyes are tough, Mel.
Ferocious. This kid will hit you, boy. He's the defensive line version of Palomalu. Palomalu hits you, this kid will hit you. And you think about production. 2 years ago, 70 tackles. That dropped to 52. 20 tackles for loss dropped to 7. 11.5 sacks dropped to 3.5. 9 hurries dropped to 6. So productivity was down, but he was a marked man. We talked about with Ryan Kerrigan. Same thing. They knew going in who they had a scheme to beat. And you think about a guy like this kid, Adrian Claiborne, Erb's palsy with that nerve damage in his shoulder and all that from birth. He played through it his whole career. It was never an issue. It wasn't an injury that all of a sudden cropped up as a senior. He's dealt with it his whole life. He started 30 consecutive games at Iowa. You talk about durability, being out there play after play, down after down. There's not a better coach in college football than Kirk Ferentz. And Kirk Ferentz has his guys ready. There's 2 other defensive linemen coming out of Iowa's program. They're going to be in the NFL next year. Carl Klug and Christian Ballard. So you're going to see Iowa Hawkeyes moving into the NFL beyond Claiborne. After his junior year, boom, he was considered